Do you overshoot the apex every now and then? Do your tires always seem to fall off right before the end of your stints? Do you lose precision in longer races and end up pitting early, losing positions because of it? In this video, I'll give you a deeper insight why this is happening to you and how to fix it. I've been sim racing for years and have built multiple GT3 car setups and driven thousands of laps in Le Mans Ultimate. Let's get into it. In the next clip is a typical me getting out of the pit on full fuel, testing a race stint and pushing a little bit, and I'm curious if you will see the slight mistakes I'm making.
That time was a 1:46.11.
So on the surface, we catch the car one time. It was like basically 10 laps of kind of getting to see how fast I can go on the full fuel and the light grip. The lap time wasn't that all impressive, but it kept declining. I kept losing the pace. There was like small moments where I missed the apex, mistake the brake points a little bit, a track cut here and there, taking a curb that I didn't want. Now we go into the next clip and I take a way more calmer approach.
That time was a 1:46.25.
Now, if you are an experienced Le Mans Ultimate GT3 driver, you'll see what is happening here. But I want to point out that the first clip and the second clip, it is not like this is better or this is better, but it's different. And I think if you want to get better as a driver, you want to practice both type of styles. Now I will focus more on the second clip, what we did there, because there were some huge benefits. On the second clip, we got more consistent lap times, we got more tire life at the end of the 10 laps, and we saved a significant amount of fuel. And that's gonna help in your race strategy, especially when races get longer. Let's go deep. So I'm hitting this braking point and the precise moment, or at least I try to. I'm a bit late, so I missed the apex a little bit here, but basically this is a great corner execution, but I did lose out on some lap time. I did made up on it on the exit, but this is like very much in the beginning, so the tires are really well. Then I approach this corner, I tap the brakes, because I need to do that here, and now I'm hitting the throttle here again to gain some more speed, and then I need to hit the brakes again, take this apex, and that's how basically I'm driving in this whole first clip. And the problem with driving like that is like I'm mentally at 100% capacity. When you do a few laps, let's say you did a qualifying, you want to drive like this in a qualifying, you lose the energy, or at least I lose the energy. I cannot keep up with this. Like as I grow as a sim racer, I can do it for longer periods, but at some point the sharpness of my driving starts to fall off. In this example, I'm using the throttle and the car completely different. I lift before I hit the braking zone, and this allows me to have a tiny bit more time to time my braking properly. Also, for this next kind of corner section, I do use the speed of the car more in an efficient way with coasting, and not hitting the throttle before this corner, allowing the car to rotate and to drive more freely into these corners. And you can see that this delta also drops, and mentally it's a lot easier to maintain this type of driving. The problem, however, if you're not used to this, you need to learn it. And I will explain now how you should learn this. You do need to kind of know the track. So it doesn't make sense if you've never driven on this Algarve track, then this will not help you. But if you have a decent knowledge, you know what corner to expect, start driving a bit differently. So you'll have your braking points, you'll have some reference here where you normally brake, but now you want to make that conscious decision to lift first. And I recommend doing this in the practice, not start doing this halfway mid-race like I did, because you will lose a massive amount of lap time. You get cars hitting you from the back because all of a sudden you start to lift and coast. But do this in a practice session to try this out, okay? But now you make the conscious decision to lift off the throttle. By the way, you really want some sort of a telemetry input here on the bottom. This is from Race Lab apps. You can use Race Element. I believe Tiny Pedal has one. This means the green line means we have full throttle and now we are lifting. We are not using energy at the moment. The energy usage is 0. It's not climbing. So you have here on this part over here, if you zoom the video, you can see that this percentage is now not dropping as we do this. Now we're a little bit further in the corner. We can brake a bit later, a tiny bit later, because we were carrying less speed. We saved some fuel. Normally you would release the brake or release the throttle and hit the brake simultaneously. And somehow I think your brain is more capable of focusing only on the brake pedal. I don't know if this is like scientifically proven or not, and I'm just coming up with it as I'm saying it, but you only have to worry about the left foot now, because the throttle, that's already done. So you don't have to use that movement simultaneously. So now we're hitting the brakes. Now, when you start trying this, you need to release the throttle consciously first, and then the braking point is going to shift. So you will make a lot of mistakes first. And this is the painful part, but just bear with me. Keep trying this, okay? Because the benefits I will show later in telemetry, which is pretty freaking amazing. Important here is that we have this trail braking trace, but you need to understand we still didn't touch the throttle. That's important. You don't want to touch the throttle. So use the brakes and just focus on steering and braking. Then the next corner section, releasing the throttle. And the thing you want to think about is to not lose lap time when you do this, is that you want to carry that speed of the car more. So when a push lap, you were not doing this. You want to brake later. Over here you can see that we lifted the throttle and we did a tiny jump of braking. Now, if I was on a more aggressive setup, so this is like a 3.5, if it would be on a 5.5, I got more rotational freedom, and with more precise steering input, I might even not have to do this. If you're liking this content this far, could you please hit that like button and check out the links below for my skill level setups. They give you different skill levels to practice also this type of driving. So a level 5 or level 4 completely feels different on this coasting fuel saving behavior. Hundreds of people already gotten a package and I got good reviews. So let's keep going. So I'm lifting without losing any speed, but I'm just tapping the brakes here for a small moment, not be on the limit so much. On the push lap, I hit the brakes more aggressively because I was not coasting. But you can still see here, as we go, we coast, we coast, we coast. Again, the percentage is not dropping. Plus, I don't have the throttle to worry about. My car is carrying the speed all the way up to that point, making me more able to focus on braking and steering only, while carrying speed through this corner. The thing is, it's going to be throttle on the throttle when you exit the corner. So you also need to understand we're not trying to be slow. We're still wanting to speed up this vehicle to the, like, we want to go on the throttle as early as possible. But the thing is, we're not jumping throttle all the time to gain rotation. We are not doing that. We make the rotation while coasting and trail braking, coasting some more. And then when we decide to go on the throttle, we can absolutely hit it 100%. All right, so we're not jumping throttle beforehand to gain rotation or whatever, but a more smooth approach of driving. Now, what does this do? This makes you, there's more breathing space, there's more mental capacity because you're not doing the switch on and off of the throttle all the time, and you're like reserving some speed into the corners, so you'll use your tires better, and you're not relying so much on the ABS, because when you hit the throttle and you need to brake again, it's very easy to hit the ABS again, maybe understeer, like use too much steer lock when you're going into corners. And that I will show in the telemetry of these two clips from the beginning of the video. Now I'm going to show you the energy gain you got from this and why it's so important. This was the end of the 10 push laps, and we got 31 minutes left on this LMU drive overlay. You can see it over here as well, 31 minutes. And the average lap was like 3.57 of fuel usage. With the energy left here, 64%. In the second stint, with the fuel saving and the more relaxed approach of racing, we did exactly the same lap times. We were even more consistent, but we got 68% of energy left, 4%. And if you look at this graphic, that means we can do an extra lap doing that. But that's not all. Look at the energy time left. We got almost 38 minutes instead of 31. So we can drive for longer. Now this has two advantages. When you drive like this fuel saving coasting approach, you are going to be off sync. If you, let's say you're driving in traffic and you race with other cars and you can get away with this. So let's say you have a hypercar blocking your apex, or you cannot overtake someone on raw pace. You can start applying this in your driving to start saving fuel. And the best thing about this is when, especially when races get longer, it could even make sure you don't have to do the pit stop. But that's not all. You're also saving tires. And I will show that in telemetry right now. Now look at this. You're confused yet? Don't worry, you don't have to worry about this. I'm just gonna guide you through this. So the white line is going to be this fuel saving lap, and the colored lines is the push lap. And you can see that on the push lap, we have this brake input. We have more brake input everywhere, and we have more throttle input moments. So over here, we're hitting the throttle to gain more speed. Here, pushing, speed. And you could see that in the telemetry here, we get this small, like, triangle points on our ground speed line, giving us more speed. So in theory, we would be faster. So immediately I get more temperatures because the way I'm driving. Now, if you struggle with temperatures, it could be an idea to start pushing in your laps and hit throttle harder, or hit the throttle, or steer more, or whatever. But when we go all the way to this whole stints and we compare them together, as we are here, you can see a very interesting dynamic on this red line. And this red line is the tire wear. And the tire wear is increasingly getting worse and worse compared to the white one. Now you could say, well, that's only a little bit. But on the end, we have, I don't know if it's like percentages, okay? So this is a percentage. So on the end of the stint, we were slower, we used more fuel on the push lap, and we have 1.3 extra % of tire wear. So it's all worse. So to bring this home, basically, to land this plane, learn to coast, learn to fuel save, and see if you can get the same lap times because it's gonna be so much more beneficial in longer races. And it's also, and this is probably the most important thing, it's easier to maintain once you've mastered it. Now, does that mean we should never push for a lap again? No. And I think it's most important to switch back between these two to get some sort of a bigger field of view on how to drive, how you can drive the car. Because for me personally, I have a hard time now on my push laps if I cannot find lap time. And if I drive a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more coasting, I can see where I might be pushing the car too much on my push laps. So I think the push laps are still really important. But yeah, like I said again, I think it's important to switch between them. Now, if we get 500 likes on this video, I'll make a full race strategy because there's so much nuance to this. Sometimes in the race you want to push, sometimes you might fuel save a lot. And if you really want that video, leave a comment and a like. When we hit the like goal, I will put that video up right here. In the meanwhile, check out this brake bias video that will teach you how ABS and brake bias actually works. Thanks for watching.